everyone, I'm Melissa McAllister, and you're listening to the Melissa M.A.D.E Show. Now, for decades, I've dedicated myself to helping women break the cycle of dieting, navigate through all the fads, and change their lives through my nutrition coaching. Now, each week, I'm going to talk about everything from deep nutrition, mindset, self-care, the ideal workout routine, tips on how and why to implement intermittent fasting in your life, my favorite recipes that are not only crowd pleasers, but they're actually healthy for you, and so much more. Now, with small and consistent changes, you can defy aging while living a happier, healthier, and more heart-filled life. I'm so excited to show you it's possible with the right strategies that are so simple to adopt. Hey, everybody. So welcome to Melissa M.A.D.E Show. And I just really wanted to make a short podcast because I think one of the number one question I get is, does Energize break your fast? That is such a common question that I get. And I hate to not be black and white, but it depends. For the most part, I don't believe it does. And I believe having the ingredients that are in specifically Energize or any clean workout, pre-workout is very beneficial to your workout, to your performance. And like Energize has quercetin in it, which is actually a really, really important thing to have these days for your well-being. But that's a different podcast. Probably the second question I get is people being so confused about fasting if you're a woman. Whether, you're a woman that's trying to conceive, you're a woman that's in perimenopause, you're a woman that's in menopause and postmenopause, it's all across the board. I mean, I even get parents asking, can my teenager, fast? Let me just quickly as I can share with you my views on fasting for women. Number one, obviously, I believe in it because I do it. I did it accidentally for almost 20 years. And then I realized that there's benefits to it. And there's a reason why, I have the physique that I do and that I'm as healthy as I am. I'm very internally healthy, especially for 48-year-old women. And I do think that fasting is a very big part of that. It's not everything. I also eat well. I'm picky when it comes to the kinds of foods that I put in my body. I mean, I've gone through the gamut. Don't get me wrong. I've gone to the low fat. I've gone, I've never been keto. I've never eaten. I did it for 1 week. That was enough for me. But, now I do eat a diet, got plenty of healthy fat, closer, to the Mediterranean diet, maybe a little bit higher in fat than the Mediterranean, a little bit lower in carbs, but very close to the Mediterranean diet. But I digress. Fasting has been very, very good for me. And so obviously I believe in it. But when anybody comes to me, number one, no, children, teenagers should not fast. Their body is still in growth mode. And you don't want to do anything that will slow down the process of them, growing up to be the strong, healthy adult that they need to be. But once you get past that growth state, it's when fasting can become very beneficial. But you will get people on social media that don't have quite the education they need to share whether or not fasting is good or bad for you, compared to doctors, functional medicine doctors, dietitian and nutritionists that are actually doing the clinical work with people and seeing the results that it does. So you've got people who will hear from somebody else that fasting isn't good. And so that's ironclad for them. And that's all that they preach over social media without really, number one, looking at all of the science behind it. Number two, just having common sense and being like, well, we've kind of fasted for the length of mankind, and now all of a sudden it's not good for us. Or, I don't know, it just didn't work for them. So it's not good for anybody. But if you look at some of the smartest people in the nutritional field, they advocate fasting, not all of them. And some of them will only advocate a 12-hour fast, which is still fantastic. Listen to me. If you've tried a 16-hour fast and you're like, there is no way, consider a 12 instead of eating 14, or even some people eat 16 hours a day, just a 12 to 12, maybe eat from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 8 to 8, whatever works best for you. That is still kind of technically fasting. You're giving your digestive tract a couple of hours of rest, which is so important. You will hear more likely that a 14-hour fast is better for women. I'm not going to argue that. A 14-hour fast, again, is fantastic versus 14 hours of eating, 16 hours of eating. You're giving your body still, it's going to take you about 8 hours for your meal to run through your body. So you're still giving your body about 6 hours of rest and repair, which is amazing. I still find the sweet spot for me being 16 hours. But let me get back to why I think that you will hear, let's ignore the people that aren't educated in this, but the people that are educated, and why they will come forward and say that fasting isn't good for women at, whatever stage, because it's funny, it's always different stages of life. And I'm here to tell you, it's not because fasting in and of itself is not good for you. Here in today's day and age, us women are under tremendous stress. You could be skipping out on your quality sleep. That's a huge stressor on your body. If you're not getting your 7 to 9 hours of good sleep, major stress. Raising a family, and my mom's out there raising kids today in this digital age. I can't. Wow. Props to you. It's got to be so stinking hard. That's a huge stressor. A lot of you women are career women, and you're, in the trenches, the 9 to 5s, busting ass, or you're trying to build your own business or your own brand, whatever it is. That's another stressor. Your relationships could be a stressor. The way that you're feeding yourself, maybe you're not feeding yourself as, nutritionally as you can, is another stress. So to put fasting on top of that stress probably isn't a good idea. So as much as I love fasting, and I think the whole world should do it as an adult, if you come to me and you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, your thyroid might be out of whack, you have some hormones that are a little bit funky, and you're like, ugh. But you tell me, I want to lose weight, so I want to try fasting. That's probably the last thing I'm going to have you do. I would rather you work on your sleep. I would rather you work on, putting pen to paper and clearing your mind every night or first thing in the morning, spending quality time with the people that you love so that those relationships are strong and they don't feel like a stressor. There's just so many other things like eating a healthy, whole food based diet that I think are more important than fasting. I think fasting is tremendous. I do. 8-hour abs, that sounds like a dream, right? What if I told you you could work on those abs while you dream? It's not too good to be true, I promise. It's something I discovered almost accidentally that gives you incredible results with minimal effort. The idea behind this is actually in what you're not doing. By giving your digestion time to rest, you allow your body to tap into its fat stores, hence working on that six-pack while you sleep. All you have to do is eat within an 8-hour window and leave the rest up to your body. I wrote the 8-hour abs diet back in 2014 to help people learn about the importance of meal timing. Intermittent fasting has been a huge part in helping me stay in the shape that I am. For me, intermittent fasting means eating in an 8-hour window, and I'll give you my insight on it in this free ebook. With proper meal timing, you will not only look better, but you're going to feel better too. So learn more by visiting melissamadeonline.com/ebooks and get your free copy of the 8-hour abs diet today. I take all of your messages that you send me, and I just internalize them. I actually have this huge box. It's giant. I don't even know where it is. I know where it was in my old house, but since we moved into this rental, I don't know where it is, but it's huge. And it is full of cards and letters from my following and people that used to take my class and friends and people that are coaches with me. It is stuffed. And this was before, the day and age of direct messaging. Really, it wasn't that popular, of people, that have had just life change because they followed the principles of whatever it is. But usually fasting is actually a pretty big one. It helps women, feel in control, and it helps them control, the amount of calories they have in a day. They don't feel like they have to obsess about food, because that was back in the day when you were eating 5, 6, 7 times a day to just now having, 3 solid meals a day. It's overwhelming. And I don't share it that often on my social media. To me, it's just something that I internalize and it keeps me going. Fasting is tremendous. But let me state it again as I close this out. You will hear from people that it's not healthy, and they might have a reason that it raises cortisol. Well, cortisol in and of itself is not bad, just like insulin in and of itself is not bad. When it's chronically raised, just like insulin, when it's chronically raised, that's not good. But if it raises your cortisol first thing in the morning because you do a fasted workout, that's not a bad thing as long as it doesn't sit there all day long. But if you have other stressors pushing your cortisol up all day long, then we have a problem. So to end this, fasting is so good for you. It's good for the healthy body. It's just like exercise. Exercise is a stressor on the body, and it is so good for the healthy body. But if somebody has, bad hips, their hips keep dislocating, am I going to prescribe for them to do squats, and lunges and all that stuff when their hips aren't healthy? No, we're going to work on getting the hips healthy first before we start doing that stressor of exercise to stress them and make them healthier, which is what fasting does. It stresses your body in a healthy way and makes it stronger. So there's my 2 cents on what it's like to hear. And for all of you that have wanted to ask me the question, but haven't, many of you have, is fasting okay for women? I have heard that it's not. Yes, if you are a healthy woman, it is tremendously healthy for you. And I encourage you to do it. But if you find yourself living a life that has a lot of imbalances from sleep to diet to stress management to hydration, maybe you don't drink water. Fix those things first, or at least work on them and get them going in the right direction before you consider adding fasting to your lifestyle, because it will be the literal cherry on the top of your healthy lifestyle. And I think you will look your best and you will feel your best because you've incorporated daily intermittent fasting in your diet. So as always, I hope you wake up prepared, and I hope that you go to bed feeling very proud. I appreciate and love you guys. Have a great day. Wow, we've reached the end. But before I leave you, I'd love to hear from you. After all, it's not every day that someone reaches out and asks for your opinion. And to me, your opinion does matter. So please share this episode with anyone that you think needs to hear this message. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. My name is Melissa McAllister. And until next time, thank you for being your own health advocate.